by Manuela Kasper-Claridge, Head of Business and Science at Deutsche Welle. Manuela, the floor is yours, and I'll leave it to you to introduce your speakers.
Yeah, thank you, and a very warm welcome from me as well. And I want to say thank you to Kirsty for this impressive track record of Estonia, which you introduced us to. And I have to say, being German, we Germans are not really used to tiger jumps and digital innovation as much as one probably would think. We are a bit slow there, and e-government, that is something we are still dreaming of. We still have to queue when we ask for a new passport and the like. So I was quite impressed by that, what you showed us. And of course, Estonia is a small country, but we need these kind of role models. The way forward, living digital, this is the topic of our discussion now. And as you all know, we are very far away from unleashing the potential, the full potential of the digital revolution. We have a very distinguished panel now, and I'd like to introduce you now to the ladies. And what we want to discuss is how can we increase the number of women internet users, what challenges lie ahead, and what opportunities as well, of course. So please welcome with me now on the stadium, or on the stage, that's for sure, Ayelet Namiras Verbin. She's a member of the Israeli Knesset. Welcome. Then we have Zayed Gambari, partner of EY from the UK. Welcome. And Marie Jeanne d'Arc, member of the Madagascar's parliament. Beautiful name, I have to say, Jeanne d'Arc. Yeah, let me start very personal. When I got up this morning, I had about 500 emails. About 100 I had to answer. Then I checked my Instagram account, my Twitter account, my Facebook account. I forgot the WhatsApp, I think. So living digital makes my work somehow faster. If it really always makes it better, I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. And that's what we like to discuss now. I'd like to start with you, Ayet. What is your working life, being digital? What does it mean for you?
Well, I think living digital makes, we are under the impression that it makes it easier. Thank you, the President of Estonia, for sharing with us what might be the equilibrium, might be the quantum leap or the tiger leap for future life for women. But I wanted actually to speak about the angle, not just from the point of view of the users, but actually from the point of view of the entrepreneurs. Because taking part in digital life, from the perspective, at least from our community, from Israel, being second in the world in the startup nation for women and men, I think that is very, very much unique. And I think the important task that we have to handle is the fact that we need more women in high tech. We don't just need more women who use internet. We need more women to be the entrepreneurs. We need to make sure that women take an actual part in creating this new society. If we are going to a new employment world, and the employment market is changing in a rapid that we would never have expected a few years ago. Understanding that and understanding how we're drawing new women into that, that is our main goal, and we haven't been doing so well at it. Why? Because even in Israel, only 6.3% in high tech are women. Now, it is still one of the highest numbers in the world, but the challenge is, how do we make sure that women are not reluctant to raise money? How do we make sure that women have the same network, helping them and assisting them in creating those new digital companies because they have the same network as men? And the golf club is, it's a nice place to be, but we are not using all our means, being mothers, being parents, being very strong women in order to draw new women into the new challenges, especially in the high-tech area and the high-tech sector. And we need to understand that this is the future economy of the world. And what the president of Estonia has done is so remarkable in that respect, because I think eventually, by creating a more digital society and to have more users, even from the retired society community, eventually, I'm sure that she will have incubators and hubs that have a lot of women in there that are creating new jobs and are drawing new women into the high-tech sector. And this is our real challenge. If you don't mind, I would like to acknowledge my peers sitting in the back from Israel, MK Aliza Lavi, MK Marav Ben-Ari, MK Karine Elahar, and MK Michal Rosine, who are my close friends. You are an inspiration to me. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
So, do I understand you right that education is the key point?
Thank you so much. I forgot the other point. Obviously, the learning experience that you need to create in each country. For instance, in Israel, we are very, very much involved in how do we draw more girls into the STEM. I'm sure, well, at least most of you are probably familiar with this term. STEM means science, technology, and mathematics. And these are, you know, it's very difficult to think because for many, many years, girls were kind of outcast from mathematics. Okay, she doesn't really understand mathematics, but who needs that in the kitchen, right? So we need, you know, this is a leash, this is something, this is a hurdle that we have overpassed ages ago. In Israel, we have special programs funded by the government in order to make sure that new girls, that young girls are joining STEM studies. We have a young scientists program, and that is very, very important. So the education ministry as well as the science in the ministry are both working together in order to make sure that more girls go into the STEM studies. And that is very, very important because that was something that for many, many years women not just were outcast from it, but the tendency was, you know, the women don't really need it. You know, we don't need girls in it. And the fact is that the only way that the world can go forward, in a world where 40% of the people will provide for 100% of the needs in the economy, and this is the employment market we're going into, we need to make sure that women take a much, much bigger part in that action. And, you know, sometimes we're not, I was very, very diplomatic when I was writing my points, and you know, we didn't want to, you know, when women were talking about money, they wouldn't go into venture capitals, they wouldn't go, they just don't, it's the same way for women in politics. We don't, you know, we don't want donations, we don't want contributions. I'm sorry. We have to overcome that. We need to be there. We need to lean in. Sheryl Sandberg used this, you know, term, lean in. We need to be at the decision-making table. And decision-making table is difficult. It's difficult to get there, but I'm sitting here surrounded by women who have managed to get to the decision-making tables. So we have no choice, girls. Now we need to draw new women in.
Okay, thank you. Saye, how do we get women to lean in digitally?
Wow, that's not an easy question. So let me share perhaps also a personal perspective. We've talked a lot today about the barriers that are facing women in politics. Similarly in business, and I think that's what you're alluding to, Ayla, women in business also face barriers. So I often get told I don't look like a partner from a multinational professional services firm. And I interpret...
You're not wearing a suit for a start.
For a start, yes. I interpret my many quirks as being that I am young, I am female, and actually quite strangely in a very traditional business environment, I am one of the first generation of leaders to be digital natives. I'm very upset you forgot the E in STEM, which is engineering, so I studied engineering. And you know, I can code, I can explain what blockchain technology is to you. I won't, don't worry. But that gives me a source of competitive advantage. Now, when you look at much of the stats today, my fear is that whilst we're taking down barriers in certain places, we will create new ones in a digital gender divide. There are 250 million fewer women than men today that use the internet. There are 200 million fewer women than men who have got mobile phones. And if we don't do something about this, the 217 years of gender gap that we have talked about will only get worse, not better. So I agree, education is hugely important. Education in STEM subjects is critical. It's starting from primary school through to university, but also reskilling women. And I think there are two things that will help with. The first one is many of the jobs that look to be automated are jobs that face women. So we have to help women to get into different lines of work, and STEM subjects will help with that, to move up the value chain of employment. And secondly, by studying STEM, women can help reduce a sort of an imbalance that already exists in those areas. I think that's critical. And then access to technology and to information is absolutely crucial. I know people joke about Wi-Fi being as important as water. It's a basic necessity in many of our lives today. And you can make jokes of that, but why not? Because actually, access to information is an enabler to empowerment, and therefore it is an absolute necessity that women around the world can have access to information. And I think I'm delighted to be speaking in front of a group of women today who have the influence, who have the power to make a difference and to improve that.
Well, you're talking about STEM, but these jobs don't seem to be attractive at the moment for girls, one has the impression. So how can we make them more attractive so that they start studying these kind of topics and subjects?
Do you know what? I don't know that there is a simple answer to that, but for me, role modeling is really critical. Role modeling and mentoring. It is role modeling young girls to see that you can be a scientist. You know, I would love it if the future of science, you know, we look at the past, sort of the 18th, 19th century, of the great names of science, and they're mostly men, apart from basically Marie Curie that we can all name. But the future, this is not actually really about Instagram and Facebook. I think the future of advanced technologies such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, 3D printing, and all of those things, we have an opportunity to show the girls today that these do not have to be male-dominated before we actually get there. So I think role modeling, mentoring, but also changing business environments. So we have to have leaders who are willing to call out any gender bias.
Marie, you're a politician in Madagascar. You are a digital native as well. How does it help you with politics in Madagascar? So Marie will speak in French, so translation, please, you CFO. Some French at last.
Merci. Excellences, honorables Mesdames et Messieurs, c'est un grand privilège pour moi de m'adresser à des grandes figures comme vous. Madagascar, en termes d'alphabétisation, rencontre encore un problème majeur. En effet, la source même de l'alphabétisme à Madagascar n'est autre que la déscolarisation. D'autre part, les responsables étatiques n'ont pas les moyens pour les retenir ou du moins assurer une éducation accessible à toutes et à tous au sein des écoles publiques. Si on parle des femmes, donc c'est un peu difficile pour nous encore de rentrer dans le... Quand on parle de numérique, il faut parler d'abord de l'éducation. D'autre part, les responsables étatiques n'ont pas les moyens pour les retenir ou du moins assurer une éducation accessible à tous au sein de l'école publique. Aussi, laisser le numérique prendre le devant par rapport à l'alphabétisation de la population malgache sera encore néfaste. Excusez-moi. Actuellement, selon les classements, Madagascar serait les 194e pays sur 215 en termes de l'alphabétisation, donc il est encore important de savoir lire et écrire. Deuxièmement, 4% des ménages malagasy seulement ont accès à l'Internet faute d'infrastructures adéquates. Et 90% de la population vivent avec moins de $2 par jour, selon la Banque mondiale. Aussi, les manques d'accès à l'électricité seulement à 15% en milieu urbain, 4% en milieu rural. Mais pour cela, il nous faut des ressources et des moyens, non seulement financiers, mais aussi en temps, car cela nécessite beaucoup de temps. Pour cela, notre pays est encore loin de suivre l'évolution mondiale du numérique. Aussi, je demanderai à vous, en tant que femme, leader politique mondial, de m'apporter votre soutien pour faire face à les fléaux. L'accès au numérique pour tous est une priorité et nous le savons très bien. Par contre, nous ne sommes pas sur les mêmes pieds d'égalité. Ce n'est pas honteux de le dire car c'est la réalité. Malgré les efforts dans le cadre du projet numérique pour tous, initié par notre président de la République, son Excellence M. Hera Zonarmapian, on est encore loin de s'en sortir. Avant de terminer, je voudrais saluer ma collègue sénateur Rassamuela Brigitte. Elle est là. Qui fait partie de notre délégation malgache avec moi. Honorables mesdames et messieurs, je vous remercie.
Yeah, we heard the situation is very difficult, not just in Madagascar, obviously. In many countries, only 46% of the world population have access to the internet. So how can one help? What should be done in these countries?
Well, that is obviously the most challenging issue of all. But the understanding must be that the creation of digital companies, more startups, creating incubators even in those countries with the assistance of the world, where we have more initiatives of that sort. I can tell you that Israel, for instance, is working very intensively in Africa in order to make lives in Africa better, to have more engagement and more access and more literacy. Just regular analog literacy as well as digital literacy. So that is something that I know that we have a lot of cooperation, international cooperation regarding to, and a lot of effort should be invested in that. So we spoke I think all of us spoke about the access to money, about STEM, which is very, very important. We spoke about the mentors that are also important. But the understanding must be that the best ideas are coming at the most unexpected moments. And the thing about digital life is that it also pushes for more social equality in senses which we have not thought of before. Because in Israel, we have two sectors that weren't in the employment market as much as the other sectors. That is the ultra-Orthodox, the very religious people in Israel, as well as the minority, the Arab minority, who were not as involved in the employment market as we would want them to. And the amazing thing to see is that the next best idea doesn't matter. That's the thing about digital life. It doesn't matter who created it. It doesn't matter if it's a man or woman or a baby who you would not see in room full of men. You would only see that in a room full of women, and that's very exciting for me to see, because that's, by the way, one of the most challenging things is that the work-life balance. But if I would tell you just names, you know, off the top of my head, Orit Chashai, Chedva Klin-Handler, Ula Bahar Salame, these are women who had an idea. And the thing was that they had the guts to approach those who had money and in order to draw them in. And this is the idea, because this is the only thing that we can do in order to truly create change in the more modern countries, as well as in the less modern country, in the less digitized countries. And there is no other way. And I always welcome whomever wants to come and speak to me, and of course my peers, as to what we can do together in order to push for those incubators to be created in other countries. I would be more than happy to do that. And I think that is one of the things that women can do for each other. We need to create a much better network. We don't have a good network. That's a fact of life. All of us politicians here, let's put it, you know, we are in a room full of women. We play the cards by the men's game. Period. That's how we came about where we are. But we need to start playing, or make them start playing in our terms, in our conditions, in our way. Because what we bring into the table is something very different than they do, and we know how to do it. But that's the thing. If we do not create a global network, if you do not create a local network for women, the struggle will be there, and the parity that the president of Croatia was speaking about earlier this morning will just not be there. It will not be there. It's up for us, it's up to us to actually make that change. So I'm truly inviting each and every one of you. We can do things together.
So Marie was asking for help. So you can help Marie.
I
You
hope
will
so.
start a network now, yeah?
Yes,
do I get you right,
absolutely.
yeah?
I have my card in my pocket. No, but I'm sure that we can get a lot from this cooperation as well. And that's the thing about cooperating together.
So
Merci.
digital life means also networking in the best and efficient way, obviously, sharing your ideas and sharing contacts and so on. Marie, does it help you?
Merci, d'abord, merci beaucoup. Et c'est pour ça que je disais tout à l'heure que j'ai la chance d'être ici avec vous pour s'exprimer, pour dire... je ne voulais pas du tout dire qu'on parle de numérique ici, je vais être dans le même rang que les autres qui sont déjà en avance que moi, parce qu'il faut dire la vérité. Parce qu'on ne va pas solutionner si on ne va pas dire la vérité. Donc là, j'ai un peu de courage, j'ai un peu de la chance pour rencontrer ici. Vous tous, il y a beaucoup de honorables amis, voisins. Vous êtes tous déjà partis avant nous, donc il faut nous aider. Pas seulement financière, mais même pas financière. Je vous demande l'idée qu'on va faire l'échange. Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait pour aller de l'avant? Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire, nous, les pays qui sont dans le pays sous-développé? C'est ça que je suis ici. Merci bien.
Okay. So yeah, let's talk about the so-called leapfrogging model, where all technologies and business models are simply skipped. Landline telephones, going directly to mobile phone, forget about the internet, just use the mobile. That can help women as well, also when they start to businesses and so on. Is this a chance for women digitally?
I think so. I think Kirsty put it so well earlier. This could be the greatest disaster for women, or it could be an opportunity to leapfrog. Because all research shows that the effect of the technology is going to affect women more than men, to the point I was making earlier about automation and so on. But women can use this to leapfrog instead. And I think, Marie, you spoke about telling the truth, and I think to tell the truth, the reality is this isn't going to be easy. Some of the changes that we are seeing today, the digital revolution is the greatest revolution possibly in 70,000 years of human history. So I think we have to tell the truth that this is not going to be easy. And it requires cooperation at all levels. So to your point about networks, I don't think this is something that governments can do on their own. I don't think it's something that politicians can do on their own. I think you need all of civil society and you need the private sector also to support. And this has to be done in cooperation. And so for me, it is an opportunity to differentially invest in women. We have to differentially invest in women in order for this not to just, to take control of the destiny for women in the digital world.
Now, Aya, let's talk about politics. You are a politician, obviously. How does it help you being digitally with your politics? Does it help also to reach out to women, for example?
I think it makes life easier in some way. I mean, the connection to the world is much more easier. But for instance, you know, one of the things that troubles me quite a bit, and maybe it troubles other peers here, the fact is that the social networks are an amazing thing, but on the other hand, they have changed the discourse into something very, very aggressive, into something that is not always, you know, for politicians that are trying to maintain a very, very good conversation, an optimistic conversation with criticism, obviously. Sometimes it's not that easy. So on the one hand, being a politician, of course, I thank God for Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, even though I'm a little bit addicted to Twitter. So, you know, my husband's not so happy about it, neither are my kids. But the thing is that you have an easier way to connect with your potential voters, with your constituency. We are a country of 8 million people. And obviously, snail mail is not such a good option anymore to connect with your voters. But on the other hand, we need to see in politics, we need to make sure that the social networks remain an advantage rather than a disadvantage. Because I don't know what it's like in your countries, but in Israel, the social networks are on fire, basically. I mean, the way that things are being used and in some way even abused for bad things, and not just in Israel, but we know worldwide. It's used for bad things. It's used to increase violence. Then we need to see how we, as politicians, make sure that a conversation, that a dialogue that we are trying to maintain with our voters goes to have a better effect, to truly change the world in a good way. Because, you know, we have a whole new continent now called Facebook. That's a whole new continent. You know, that is something that we need to address to being politicians. And that is to see how criticism remains criticism and that the social networks are not being used for bad things. And I think it is very, very obvious that the social networks have changed the world. But on the other hand, we need to make sure that they don't change the world for the worst. And I've got to tell you one thing, as a politician, there is no replacement for the human touch. No replacement for that. We also need to understand that being politicians, by the way, even in the business sector, I came from the business sector, there is no alternative for shaking your hands and for saying, I care, for saying to people and, you know, telling them, looking each other in the eye and saying, I care about what troubles you. And in that respect, we need to understand that there's no alternative to that. There's no alternative to human warmth and human approach. And I think that, by the way, is true about the societies that are more digitalized and societies that are less digitalized. And maybe, actually, the societies that are less digitalized are the ones teaching us that there is no alternative to that.
So you are an ample Twitter user. How many followers do you have?
Very little. Very little. You're very welcome.
Follow you.
I have about 7,000. I'll tell you why, by the way. Because the discourse that I'm trying to run is very balanced. I'm a opposition member, so I'm very much against the government, but I'm trying to maintain a very polite discourse. So okay, nobody likes a polite discourse in the social network.
Let's have a small discourse now, because actually I'm not supposed to interact with the audience, but I see one hand up all the time, and I want to give you the opportunity to say something. So please be so kind and introduce yourself. I think you have to come to the stage, and you will get a mic from us, and just to make your point.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to ask my question. My question is for the Israeli Knesset member. You said in your talking that the Arab women or Palestinian women, you asked them to involve in the digital program or digital living, but they refuse. They do not want. Will you explain, or why don't they invited here to explain why they don't want to be involved in digital living?
May I first answer to that? Actually, there was supposed to be an Arabic voice on the podium, but she unfortunately didn't come or didn't want to speak out. Otherwise, we would have had an Arabic lady here on the podium, of course. But I give you back the mic.
Yeah, I have,
you have
a
it.
mic.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. And I would love to tell you about the potential way that we are working with the Arab society in Israel, working very, very hard with Arab Israelis in Israel. By the way, also with the Palestinian Authority on different programs in order to make sure that women, Arab women in Israel are digital literacy, and I see them everywhere, by the way. You see them in incubators in Nazareth, you see them working in Jerusalem, you see them in hubs, I meet them. I see them with my eyes. They have bright eyes. They work in the pharmaceutical sectors, they work in the internet sectors, they even work in the gaming centers. And that's the thing. It's not the question of allowing, it's a question of us pushing them and helping them to get out and to make sure that they are a part of the employment market, and Israel does just that. And that is the thing. There is no one woman in Israel that doesn't have the opportunity. And if a woman doesn't have an opportunity, she can turn to me and I will make sure that she will have the opportunity. And that is the thing. Digital life, creating a digital life, is creating a more equal life. And that is a wonderful thing that is happening in Israel. And that is exactly what we're doing. And you see them. I just called the name of Ula Salama Bahar, who's a wonderful woman. She started off in sales in the pharmaceutical business. Now she runs an amazing, amazing biomed company. And she's just one of many, many, many women that I meet. And they have every chance in Israel to be a part of the economy, to be a part of the society, to be a part of the civil society. And it's amazing to see what they're doing. And we feel very, very privileged by the fact that we have the ultra-Orthodox who didn't used to work before and the Arabs joining this market.
Okay.
So it's a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you for that passionate speech. Saya wants to add something.
I'm not a politician, so I'll make a side comment. I think women from around the world, I think women are always ambitious. Women have always been ambitious. But some of the statistics that we see today in the differentiated sort of ambition of women from the emerging economies and developed countries is very interesting. So you look at women in India, in China, in Brazil, you have over 80–90% of them who see themselves, as young girls today, see themselves reaching executive positions in the future compared to in the 30s when you ask similar girls in the US. And I think that's important. We have to tap into that fire, that energy, and that enthusiasm so that those girls are not later prohibited from reaching the top. And I think that's that. And you know, businesses know this. People who sell mobile phones, people who sell technology, they know that women and emerging markets, and particularly the confluence of those two markets, is the new economy. And they want to actually access these women. So I absolutely think there is an opportunity to allow these women into the economy.
No, yeah, okay, you want to add something? No, okay. Marie, I wanted to ask you, what do governments need to do to help women to advance more in the digital world? What do they need to do? What do you expect from governments? What should they do?
Oui, c'est vrai. Si on va comparer des 4 ans passés et aujourd'hui, il y aura quand même, il y en a beaucoup de changements quand même. Parce que le gouvernement actuel, je vais dire le président de notre 4e République, il a dans son programme de faire évoluer les femmes surtout. C'est surtout dans le numérique parce qu'on parle de numérique ici. Et on a de la chance aussi en tant que parlementaire, parce que dans le Parlement, avec les 2 chambres, il y en a quand même la connexion Internet. Même nous, on a des possibilités d'acheter des crédits, acheter des téléphones. On était à l'école, c'est des genres. Mais j'ai parlé tout à l'heure, c'est pas pour nous. C'est pour tout le monde. On n'est que combien? On n'est que 31 femmes parlementaires dans l'Assemblée nationale sur 151. Donc, c'est vraiment, c'est comme des gouttes d'eau, ça n'a rien à voir. Donc, quand j'ai parlé ici tout à l'heure, j'ai parlé pour Madagascar, l'ensemble, les jeunes, les futurs, notre relève. C'est ça que je voulais parler. Ce n'est pas pour nous aujourd'hui. Nous, on a déjà notre capacité de savoir, de faire l'échange par rapport à le numérique, comme on dit. Mais moi, j'ai toujours la foi. J'ai toujours la foi parce que avant, comme j'ai déjà dit tout à l'heure, il n'y en avait pas beaucoup de femmes parlementaires. Il n'y en avait même pas des femmes qui voulaient se présenter pour être élues. Parce que dès l'avant même, on leur dit que non, vous ne pouvez pas le faire. Vous n'avez même pas les capacités. Votre place est à la maison pour nettoyer les vaisselles, pour servir vos familles. Ça, c'est vrai. Mais en ce moment-là, on vit là maintenant notre... comment ça... Aujourd'hui, là où on est, c'est autre que l'avant. C'est-à-dire qu'on a déjà fait beaucoup de pas en avance. Donc, c'est-à-dire, j'ai la foi que ça va changer, comme notre titre tout à l'heure, qu'on va y arriver. Et on va vraiment tous y arriver si on va se donner la main pour les uns et les autres. Et on va faire toujours l'échange. Et pourquoi je veux profiter de remercier l'Islande et Reykjavík qui nous a accueillis ici, parce que c'est la première fois qu'on voit. Et pourquoi j'étais étonnée? Parce que nous, par exemple, à Madagascar, on a beaucoup de capacités. On a le soleil pour avoir la lumière. On a beaucoup de capacités. On a la mer. On a beaucoup de choses bio. Mais ici, je vois que je ne sais pas si c'est peut-être 6 mois sur un an ou c'est 8 mois sur un an qu'il y a toujours la neige. Mais quand même, c'est avancé. C'est avancé, Islande. C'est comme ça que c'est beaucoup, c'est un autre avantage de voyager pour voir comment ça se passe les autres pays. Et je remercie aussi, je profite aussi de remercier à Madame Silvana, notre présidente de WIP. Elle est là, parce qu'elle nous a fait découvrir le monde en tant qu'ambassadrice des femmes comment c'est, Women in Parliament pour Madagascar. Donc, je veux dire, on est là, c'est pas par hasard. C'est pas par hasard qu'on est là. On nous a choisis, c'est vraiment, nous les femmes qui sont là, on va se considérer qu'on a de la chance parmi tant d'autres femmes qui voulaient être à notre place là maintenant. C'est comme ça que je dis, les messages que je voulais passer, nous, on va se donner la main, on va s'entraider. C'est peut-être que ce n'est pas nous-mêmes, nous les femmes, mais on va demander aussi nos hommes. Parce que s'ils voient que nous, vraiment, notre souhait pour développer notre pays, je ne pense pas qu'ils vont être les barrières. Parce que nous, s'il y a toujours, je vais dire, s'il y a toujours l'inclinaison, je veux dire, s'il y a toujours que la femme et les hommes ne travaillent pas ensemble. Même nous-mêmes, on ne peut pas travailler ensemble, nous les femmes toutes seules. On a toujours besoin des hommes à côté de nous. Donc, on va s'entraider, on va dire à nos hommes qu'il faut qu'on on s'aide, on va aller de l'avant, on va y arriver et on va vraiment y arriver. Nous, les femmes, merci bien.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I'm quite amazed how much passion goes into the digital topic here. With being such a female audience, I mean, this is great, and I see still many hands being raised and ladies wanting to say something. If I may, I give one more mic to one more participant, yeah, who was really urging me. Yeah, I know there are more. Okay, please come ahead and please be so kind and introduce yourself.
Merci beaucoup. Je suis Lilia, députée du Parlement tunisien. Au fait, ce sujet m'intéresse énormément parce que je sais que la vitesse avec laquelle le monde est en train d'évoluer est infiniment grande. Que le numérique maintenant...
We can't really hear what you're saying. No, just if you talk to us, then we'd have...
Okay.
I'm sorry, I apologize, but otherwise...
Okay. C'est-à-dire que ce thème, le numérique, est un thème réellement actuel. Et que la vitesse du monde, maintenant, elle est exponentielle. Et que si on ne fait pas quelque chose pour les femmes et avec les femmes, on va voir ce gap s'élargir. Et je pense qu'on devrait penser, en tant que Women Parliament, à faire des programmes pour les femmes. Et comme objectif, on doit se fixer un objectif. Nous devons lutter contre l'analphabétisation numérique des femmes. Parce que moi, je viens de l'Afrique, je suis tunisienne, je suis nord-africaine. Et l'Internet n'existe pas partout. Donc, on va voir entre les citadines et celles du milieu rural, c'est vraiment un fossé de génération. On ne peut pas commencer et on ne peut pas avancer sans viser à avoir des objectifs clairs. Comment permettre à ces femmes d'accéder à l'Internet, d'avoir les outils nécessaires pour pouvoir évoluer. Dans mon pays, on a 65% des femmes qui sont diplômées des universités. Mais je pense qu'avec la numérisation, on va voir une chute de ces femmes. Pourquoi? Parce que l'accès à la numérisation maintenant est de plus en plus restreint. C'est un handicap pour les femmes. Nous devons agir et il faudrait agir et rapidement, sinon on va voir les choses évoluer autrement. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. So, would you like to answer? Because the question is, isn't there the risk that women are the losers of digitization?
I'm sure it will not be the case if we apply to it. I'm sure it's not going to be the case, but it's interesting to see that the situation around the world in the developed countries, you see that it's the same problem. You see all the girls in colleges, in universities, you have a majority of women, then a second degree, and even in PhD around the world, you see a majority or at least, a large number of women, and then you don't see them at the tip of the pyramid. That's the problem. We don't see them at the tip of the pyramid. So we need to make sure, I don't see you now, the woman, the nice woman that was asking the question. We need to make sure that women do not come out with the lower hand. We need to understand this is, by the way, this is a battle. This is a battle. This is a battle and we're running against time. Have no question about it. We're running against time. So we need to do something urgently about it. And of course, if the WPL would like to do something about it in a global way, I'm sure we will be, more than happy to take part.
So we have another voice here, please.
Merci.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Merci de l'opportunité que vous me donnez. Je voudrais d'abord dire bonjour à tout le monde et vous dire combien de fois vous nous inspirez.
I'm sorry, you need to address
Okay.
us.
Je suis Domani Doré de la Guinée. Souvent on dit Guinée-Conakry. Et je suis ancienne ministre des Sports. En ma qualité de jeune, c'était un grand événement dans notre pays. Mais parlant du numérique, ce qui est à relever, le numérique nous sauve d'une situation qui passe parfois inaperçue concernant la place de la femme dans les médias. Malheureusement, l'on parle de la femme que lorsqu'on veut faire un zoom sur le leadership féminin. Pas parce qu'elles sont en train de parler d'un sujet d'intérêt national, on en parle parce que c'est une femme, c'est un handicap. Et le numérique, justement, vient donner de l'aide dans ce sens, parce que si les médias ne veulent pas s'intéresser à mon opinion sur un sujet de sécurité, d'un sujet concernant la biologie ou de tout autre domaine, en partie de ma page Facebook, de mon Twitter et tout, je peux en tout cas partager mon message. Et donc c'est pour dire que le numérique est une superbe opportunité justement en politique. Et pour nous les plus jeunes, nous avons l'avantage d'être avec ça tous les jours, mais ce n'est pas le cas des plus âgés. Et oui, l'analphabétisme numérique doit être combattu. Merci.
Thank you very much for this comment. Saya, would you agree? Obviously, you said you are a digital native, and it sounded as if young women have better opportunities because for them that's natural to be digital. As long as they can, as long as they have access, of course.
As long as that's the case, yes, I think so. Although if we were to follow that analogy, we would probably say we should have advanced further than we have today. So I agree. I think it does make a difference to be a digital native, but there is still work to be done. In my view, I fear that the greatest sort of inequality of the 21st century does not become access to food or security from war, or it actually becomes about access to information. And the reality is that in the future, not every job will be automated, but every job will be digital. And that's really important. It does not matter if you're in Silicon Valley or if you're in Sierra Leone. Every job will be digital. And so for young women today, they have to learn coding or learn technology in the same way as reading and writing, in the same way as you learn a foreign language. It's critical skills, and also we can reskill women who are not digital natives. The statistics show more than half of women who are in technology today did not start in technology. You don't have to start in technology. You can come from the arts, you can come from humanities, you can come from a range of sectors. So it's never too late to pick it up. You just have to, in all honesty, the coding that I know is so old today. The world changes so fast. It is not usable, but it doesn't matter because I have the confidence to understand technology and approach it in a different way because I have been educated at that level, and I think that's why it matters.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have to come to an end with the discussion now, but I would like to ask each of the panelists here to have just one takeaway of the discussion. What needs to be done now?
I think that what I came in is, in many senses, is what I'm getting out with. The question of cooperation and strengthening the network is crucial because truly, as I said before, we are running against time in order to make sure that younger women, you know, Saya is a native of the Y generation. I'm XY generation. I mean, it makes a difference. It makes a world of difference, and duty calls that we, especially women politicians, address this problem. And we need to create a better network, and I'm telling you, you see so many startups today created by women that you would never have imagined. Now, these are women who have no technological background, nothing to it, and they're creating amazing, amazing companies that will change the world. And it's an amazing thing to see that they have confidence in what they're doing. They understand what they're doing, and that's a takeoff that we should go out from here, that it's possible, that it's not, it's only up to us. And I just want to refer to what, to end with the wonderful thing, the wonderful punchline of Christine Moore, I'm sorry, because it is from the unthinkable to the impossible to the inevitable. That's what technology is, the inevitable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marie, what's your takeaway from the discussion today? What needs to be done now?
Pour moi, c'est pour conclure l'aujourd'hui. On va pas, pour moi, par exemple, je ne veux pas prendre, comme je viens de dire tout à l'heure, je ne vais pas prendre ça comme blocage. C'est-à-dire, même s'il n'y a pas d'éducation, assez d'éducation, même s'il n'y a pas assez d'infrastructures pour y arriver à notre fin, je veux dire, il faut seulement lutter. Lutter, comme je viens de dire tout à l'heure, il faut lutter et on va y arriver. C'est ça. Donc, on ne va pas s'arrêter là pour dire qu'on ne peut pas y arriver et on va faire les bras croisés, mais on va aller de l'avant. Il faut, par exemple, chez nous, à Madagascar, il y a déjà l'association, beaucoup d'associations qui s'améliorent avec l'association des femmes, qui travaillent main dans la main pour dire qu'on ne va pas rester là. On ne va pas attendre seulement les gouvernements, ils font déjà de leur côté. Mais on ne va pas attendre les gouvernements parce que la lutte contre les développements, ce n'est pas seulement pour les gouvernements, ni les parlements, c'est à nous tous. Donc, c'est-à-dire, je fais seulement appel à nous, tous les honorables députés, les membres des WIP qui sont là, qu'on ne va pas se baisser la main. On y va de l'avant, juste pour vous dire notre situation à Madagascar, que je disais tout à l'heure, mais pas pour stopper notre pas qui sont déjà partis. On va partir et on va arriver. Merci bien.
Thank you. Yes. And Saïd, you've get the last words here today.
Thank you. I'll try and keep it short. And I feel like I'm privileged to be in front of an audience that can actually make the change. You have the power to make the change. So I will make 3 points. Number one, education. We've talked about this at length, and I think it's about a differential investment in education, in finding the role models and putting them on pedestals. The second point is access to technology and information to empower women around the world. It is critical, and again, differential investment in women's ability to access technology and information. And the third one is to not let go of the fight. I think we have to keep talking about this. We have to keep this as a key topic. We have to have the vision that the women of the future are going to be the leaders of artificial intelligence, of blockchain, of robotics, and so on. And that's what we have to all believe and keep talking about. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this really engaging digital discussion, and thank you also for your patience.
Okay, on va y arriver. On va s'entraider. Thank you so much. While you leave the stage, it's time for a break. But before you go, we won't be back in this room all together. So please hear me out for 60 seconds. So we talked about embracing digital skills, widening understanding of security and defense, ending sexism, and many other topics. And next, what we want is to hear from you and to dive deeper into these topics in very interactive policy sessions that are going to happen in 6 different rooms around the center. So we'll each join one of those 6, and they will start at 4 p.m. And I'll ask you to please take your things with you, because there will be some movements in this room. It will be broken into 2 rooms. So the topics are, so you know where you're going next, and then I have an announcement about dinner, so hear me out. The first one is going to be sustainability first. It's happening downstairs in Visa Room. The second is going to be about labor market inclusion, also downstairs in RIMA. Third is All You Need is STEM. It's happening right here in the first part of the room. Rape as a weapon of war, downstairs in RIMA.